Alright, in problem 2, we have a graph of g prime. It's important to note that g prime is the derivative of g. So they're going to ask us a bunch of stuff about g, but they're giving us a graph of g prime. So keep that in mind. First off, when is g increasing? Well, g increases whenever its derivative is positive. So its derivative is positive, since we have its derivative graph here. Its derivative is positive whenever its derivative is above the x-axis. So starting at negative 5, and negative 1, it kind of wants to cross over, but doesn't. So we can definitely say from negative, I shouldn't include that endpoint, from negative 5 to negative 1, g prime is positive. And again, from negative 1 until 4, that would be your answer for part A. Now, frankly, if you went negative 5 to 4, I probably wouldn't even have a hissy fit about that. But the idea is to look for where g prime is above the x-axis. And then it asks, where is g decreasing? G is decreasing when g prime is negative. Well, g prime, we have the g prime graph over here. G prime is negative when its graph is below the x-axis, which happens certainly from negative 6 to negative 5. And again, from positive 4 until positive 5. For part C, at what x values does g have a relative min? That's going to happen whenever, well, let's see. So g has to go from decreasing to increasing in order to get a relative min. And that means g prime has to go from being negative to turning positive. G prime goes from being negative to being positive when x is negative 5. Vice versa, for part D, when does g have a relative max? So that is when g goes from increasing to decreasing, which means g prime goes from being positive to being negative. G prime goes from positive to negative right here when x is 4.